I've thought about this, and my perspective on it has definitely shifted a lot in my life, which I think is significant. Um, but I think what I've learned thus far, and something that I'm trying to lean into heavily at the moment, or at least at this stage in my life, is trusting my intuition and being able to be in touch with that part of me and trusting it, and having that be a part of what leads me. And I think that as women, that's a strength and something that we can lean on, and something that sometimes is not emphasized or readily accepted. My name is Stephanie Beaudelet. I'm an attorney. I'm married, my husband. I have 3 kids, Olivia, Remy, and Nico. And we got connected with the church through a friend. I practice assisted reproductive law, which means that I handle the legal side of what individuals or couples would need to form their family in a non-traditional way, using assisted reproduction like IVF, surrogacy, things like that. And there's a very human element to it where I felt like it worked. It felt like a combination of a lot of things that felt familiar to me. I think that I've been able to contribute to my job. It's felt comfortable for me because I've always had a side to myself that is very stereotypically, I guess, attorney-like, in the sense that I do, I get fired up when it comes to wanting to protect someone or stand up for someone and be there for that person. And that side of me, and the A-type student side, fits into the traditional aspect of what an attorney would be, I suppose. But like everyone, there are different dimensions to us, there are different sides to us. And I think this field in particular allows me to kind of use other skills, other parts of me, my maternal side, my intuitive side, my emotional side, all of that. I can kind of combine that. Short answer is yes. All the time, actually. This might be my own perspective, but I do think that there are some fields where it's more, the disparity is more emphasized than others. And in my personal experience, it's definitely something. I remember interning, and a lot of the women that I interned for while I was still in school, in law school, they had these stories where, one of them, she was the only female in her law school class. And it was a constant reminder of how we're not that far from these shifts having happened. Meanwhile, I was, women made up, I think, 51% of my law school class. But you're still entering the workforce with women that are working in it that didn't experience the same thing. And so you're still kind of in this place of transition where it's available to you. I'm able to do it, I'm able to pursue it, but then what does that look like? So there's still a lot of misconceptions, a lot of things. I have colleagues that'll walk into a courtroom and the assumption is they're not the attorney, they're there to do something else. And even with clients, especially at the beginning, I worked at a firm where I worked with an older male attorney, and the way people interacted with him and then the way people interacted with me, there were very stark differences. And it's not that it needs a reaction in the moment, but all of those little things do impact you. Imposter syndrome, for sure. I've been doing this for a long time now. I've presented on the matter. I've written on the matter. I've, spoken everywhere. And my assumption is not that I I still question everything. And I think that's something that I intentionally, I'm trying to work on. And also not being afraid to trust myself. I think in the last few years, I've really held true, not being afraid of saying no, or not taking a case, or not working with someone when I know that I shouldn't, and not being afraid to upset other people if it means doing what you know is going to be right for either yourself or the clients or whatever it is. So I think that is the life lesson, for not just work, but life in general. Not being able to control. I think that has been a lesson the world has been putting in front of me the last couple of years. And it's interesting because in the field of law, my soul, not my soul, but a big part of my purpose, for example, in drafting a contract, would be to try to think of every possible scenario so that it is controlled, so that you know the outcome, so that we can prevent bad things from happening. And at the end of the day, even with the best of the best, we're dealing with people. And there's an aspect that you will not ever be able to control. And that's a conversation that I also have with my clients. There's a certain level of faith, in a sense, that you're going to have with the people that you're working with, and that you have to have, because it doesn't matter how much effort you put into something, there's always that margin of unpredictability, things you cannot control. So you have to trust in yourself and know that you did what you could, and the rest is part of your journey. Yeah, faith like a girl. I think embracing with confidence, embracing all aspects of yourself, and not letting the world shut down those parts of you that are invaluable to leading your most purposeful and authentic life.